Hi there. I wanted to meet one of my clients, Spencer. When Spencer came to me, he wasn't really sure about what his next career move was going to be. And in fact, he wasn't even sure if tech was still the right industry for him altogether. And I think it's actually a sentiment that a lot of folks in tech can relate to right now. When we had those initial conversations, we identified 3 areas that might get him excited again, which were healthcare, AI, and education. And so fast forward to today, Spencer has recently accepted a role with Verily as a senior product manager. So that ticks off 2 of those 3 areas that we identified. So it ticks off healthcare and AI for him. And for those of you who don't know Verily, they used to be the life sciences arm of Google and basically as hot as it gets when it comes to tech within healthcare and life sciences. So I'm super excited for you to meet Spencer, learn a little bit more about his journey and also his reasons for why he's joined the program and what the program has helped him with. All right, let's dive in. Hey, Spencer, can you just start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I'm Spencer. I'm a senior product manager. Been in tech for about a decade now. Started off on data, moved over to product management. This is actually my last day at my current role, and I'm going to be joining Verily, which is like a healthcare AI company that I'm very excited about.
Not just A, it is the Google's life science arm, right? Or was at least, I think.
Was, yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're still under alphabet though.
Currently, yeah.
All right. Tell us a little bit about some of the challenges that you had before you discovered this program.
Yeah, I would say the short version of it is that I would think it was more reactive. I would kind of let things come to me and I wouldn't be reaching out to things that I care about or have a really idea about what exactly I wanted to move toward. If somebody would reach out for a position, I'd learn about the role and then I would go through the process, but I might not really know if it was the right role for me or not, and I might just find something that I latched onto. I wasn't attracting the right things and I also wasn't moving towards a certain direction. So I think those are some of my biggest barriers going in.
What made you actually choose this program over other options or other alternatives?
The way I felt was I was at a crossroads where I didn't know if I wanted to continue in tech. And what I wanted to do was make a bet on myself. I didn't want to regret not giving myself the best opportunity. So I felt like I needed to make an investment, like a bet on myself. I'm somebody who is hesitant to spend money unless I need to. One way for me to do something is to make myself pay for it, and then I want to derive value from that thing. So by investing in this program, investing in myself, then I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself as best of a shot as I can in tech, and I think it ended up paying off fairly well.
That's great to hear. What would have been some of the alternatives if you didn't go this route? Did you even think about it or no?
There are other programs potentially, but I think also for me, it was more likely about whether I would just try and do it on my own, like I had done in the past. And then the other thing was whether I wanted to just move off of tech too. I think in terms of why I chose this program compared to others, I kind of liked Q's personality and the way you describe things, and it kind of resonated with me. I just didn't want to have regret. I kind of changed my mindset and said, okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I just don't want to regret not giving it a shot. And so I felt like I hadn't in the past given myself the best opportunity, like I'd done things on my own. And this was a way for me to try to get the best result.
That's awesome. Also, just because you said it, so not fishing for compliments, but I am curious how you would describe my style to someone who has never been exposed to my coaching style before.
Positive, but no nonsense.
I love that. That is what I'm shooting for. So that's good. What would you say are specific problems did the program help you solve?
So the first one is resume. I think my resume was boring. I think it's what you're told to put, where it's very numbers driven. And I think Mills helped me make it more story driven. I can't support with data, that was an improvement, but in terms of the readability of my resume, I find it more readable now. And then beyond that, I think the biggest factor was frankly my LinkedIn game. I think it was pretty much kind of non-existent before, and that was probably to my detriment. And I think this pushed me to, one, improve my LinkedIn, like make sure that my profile was what it should be and match who I actually am. But two, the bigger thing was, start being more active. And I got over the hump of posting a blog, like doing a LinkedIn blog post thing. I do need to get back and doing more of those because it's good nowadays to do that. But yeah, I think networking has always been a bit tough for me. And so this pushed me to do that. And I think that helped, that paid dividends.
Have you done that before you joined the program?
I had for my announcing my own layoff, I did post on, and it was kind of like a joke. It was like a bit funny of a one, but I did get a lot of responses on that one
Yeah.
because funny story about that is I got told I was being laid off while I was on vacation in the Dominican Republic at an all-inclusive resort. So like it was like
In
it
style.
was for a bachelor party. It was like a friend's bachelor party. So I was like, okay, that happened. But in terms of trying to do it for the sake of gaining attention so that way recruiters can see and can reach out to you. It was more for like, hey, putting general feelers out there as opposed to this is more like targeted.
Yeah, yeah, like not targeted or strategic in that sense.
Yeah.
Can you share a moment if you did have this moment, but can you share a moment when you realized that this was exactly what you needed to move forward?
I think I realized I was in a better position than I used to be because I started seeing people reach out to me that were kind of more in line with what I wanted. Whereas I think before it'd be like very random things that I wasn't interested in. And I think a moment for that was when I got like a few, I think like within a week, I got like 3 or maybe 4 emails from companies and I'm like, oh, I can actually see myself potentially at all of these as opposed to, oh, here's a company you definitely don't want to work at. So I think I don't remember when that exactly happened, but I remember thinking, okay, yeah, my LinkedIn must be doing some work.
So we increased the relevance of the opportunities. That's awesome. How has being part of this program impacted your confidence or mindset? If you've noticed any mindset shift.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that being in this program has helped me feel like I'm not alone in things. Like I think people know in theory that, oh, this is a very tough job market. Oh, it's not on you. But by being in a program with other people that, can also, some of them are also very impressive and you're just like, okay, they're here too. So you feel a little bit less alone. And so there's a little bit more confidence there. I think in terms of like, had I not joined this program, I think what would have probably happened, knowing me, is I would have continued job searching for a while, would have gotten a job in like 6 months or something like that, but it would have been after a lot more rejections, a lot lower confidence, and I would have accepted a role that wasn't as good for pay that wasn't as good either. And so I think this program helped me, find a role that actually resonates with me. And also, even though I'm not a super confident person, it made help me present myself as a confident person when it came to negotiation, which led to a better result, or at least somewhat confident. Not as confident as Q, but confident, more confident.
Tell us a little bit more about the whole negotiation piece.
I think I gave a number that was lower than what Q told, so it was probably something like my number's here, your first number was here, and then the number you gave later was here. I'm like, okay, I'll do this number, and I think it got me like closer to that number than the number I would have given is definitely lower than what I ended up getting. So yeah.
Are you happy with the number that you've ended up with?
Yes, I'm definitely happy with the number I ended up
Yeah,
with.
that's awesome. That's a step up as well, right? Compared to what you were doing before.
Yeah, and this is even before
And
equity.
so even the cash package without equity is already much higher than the
Yeah,
previous
the
one.
total package
That's
currently.
amazing. Imagine what you would have gotten if you went with my number.
I'm not. I feel like that would have maybe been too much, but because I think yeah,
Honestly, that is like super common. That is what always happens. Like literally, I always talk to people about what they should go for, and then I tell them, look, if it was me, this is what I would go for. Just so that they have a baseline, and then they can do with that information whatever they want, And usually
yeah.
they don't go anywhere near that, but it's good for them to know though. After talking about it, I was like, but if it was me though, what would I? And so I always try to go back to that, and then that's the number that I would usually come up with, which people don't follow. Okay, so before joining the program, I know that you had some hesitations, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about those hesitations and how you were able to handle them?
Yeah, so my two main hesitations were around the cost and then whether I wanted to stay in tech at all. So I'll start off with whether I wanted to stay in tech at all. I kind of already talked about it, but basically the way I thought about it was it's a bit of a mindset shift where it's like instead of thinking about like where I fear tech might be headed or where things have been going, I thought about, okay, well, I want to not regret. So I want to give myself the best opportunity. And I had also done some research in other potential career changes, and nothing like really stood out clearly as like, oh, this is a much better path for me. So it was kind of like a unclear situation, and I figured, okay, if I'm going to potentially transition, I can do that later, but I want to give myself like one more really good shot. And that lends itself to the next part, which is like the cost. So for me, the cost is higher than what I normally like would spend on something. I think the last time I bought anything, maybe a car, like a used car. I think that's I bought, and even then that was cheaper because it was my friend's grandmother's used car. I don't really spend much money, but the thing for me was like it was again like kind of like a mindset shift where it was instead of like here's what I'm losing, here's what I'm betting on myself. Like I'm gaining an opportunity to bet on myself, and I'm gonna try to get as much value out of it as possible. So I figured basically like it's kind of combined situation where both of those two things I came to the conclusion that like the best thing for me is just to give myself one last good bet and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll be some amount of money less, but I will have less regret. And I think that's very important.
That's awesome to hear, yeah. In terms of return on investment, now in hindsight, when you look back based on the learnings, the experience that you have, and the package that you ended up with, how are you doing on your ROI?
Yeah, I mean, I found the negotiation alone up on the investment. I think also in terms of like if I think about it realistically, I probably would have been job searching for, another 3, 6 months were it not for this program. How much that would have cost my own self-esteem and mental health, it would have been a lot worse. And so that's probably worth the cost as well. And I think in terms of like learnings, like how to approach things, I think that's also valuable there. I mean, I think you can probably find stuff online that answers some of the stuff, but I think reading about it versus going through the experience of it and going through it with others is probably more valuable there. So I think overall, definitely more than enough return on investment. Yeah.
That's awesome to hear. What would you say to someone who is on the fence, whether or not they should join the program? Knowing what you know now, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would say the most important thing is understand why you're on the fence. So are you somebody that gets a gym membership, like it's a really, really nice gym membership, and then you don't go to the gym because like, okay, I got the gym membership and I'm done now. But if you're somebody that's not like that, you're kind of like, okay, I got a gym membership and now I need to go in order to get value out of it, I think you're going to be in a better situation. And then I would say by understanding why you're on the fence, and then you can make sure that like this is the right path for you, or if it's something else that you need, if you just need a gym coach because your energy low or you need a therapist, understand what that you're really trying to get out of this, and then make sure it aligns.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Spencer. So best of luck with your new role. I'm so excited for you. You deserve the world. You deserve this role. And verily, I don't anticipate it to be easy, but I do anticipate it to be meaningful. And I think you can get a lot out of it.